Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Design IT Solutions podcast. I'm Daniel, and today we're going to continue on and talk about what do you do after you click on a phishing link or you think you've clicked on something malicious. What next? Well, let's get started. So first, there's really only a few things that hackers are trying to do. And so there's a million ways they can try and do it. So rather than try and explain every possible way, I'm going to explain what to do to see if they've done anything. So you get a link, you go to a malicious site, you get an email, you open something, you're not sure, did I infect my computer? Did I do something? What do I do? Well, the three things they want to do are either persistent access, where they have access to your device and they can do things over time, spy on you, monitor, maybe inject malicious code later, steal data off your computers, data exfiltration. Or they're trying to, right then and there, deploy something malicious, like ransomware. All of a sudden you're going to have pop-ups, hey, your files are locked, and pay this ransom. That's a bad one. We don't want to get to that spot. Or third, they're trying to proxy your data. They want to control what you do, or not necessarily control, but monitor what you do outside the network. So they're going to redirect what you're doing on the internet to something they can monitor, right? So a little different than that persistent access, the remote access tools that they would install where they have connection to your device. They want you to be going through one of their devices so they can monitor. So how do we detect, how do we fix each of those scenarios? Well, the very first thing you do is to go to your security, your antivirus, your endpoint security, and we're going to kick off what's called a full or deep scan. Depending on what flavor of antivirus you have, we're going to open it up and we're going to tell it to do a full scan right now. Scan everything on my computer. We're going to do a deep scan or full scan, whichever it says. We're going to let that finish. Okay. We're also going to notify IT if you haven't done that yet, because they're going to want to get involved. But there's also another step. So especially if you have a Windows computer, we're going to go to Microsoft and we're going to search for their safety scanner. That's safety scanner, and it will be at a Microsoft site. Make sure you go to Microsoft.com for the download. This is a run once utility. Well, you can run it multiple times, but that's just what we call it, where you're going to run this code and it's going to scan your computer as well. We're going to do the quick scan first to see if it finds something. Now, don't worry if it pops up saying it started finding things. It will look for indications of compromise while it's scanning, and then at the very end it'll do another cloud scan or reveal where it checks with its cloud definitions to see if those are really malicious or not. And so it holds those till the end. So if it thinks there's something malicious, it will have that, and then at the end it'll double check, and then it'll let you know if it really is malicious. So even if it starts to tick up, don't panic. It can still come back 0 or clean. So we're going to start with a quick scan from the safety scanner, then we're going to do a full scan. You can also do this anytime you're just curious how your machine's running. Go ahead, download the latest one each time and run that. So that's step one. This is going to see if malicious code is installed or running on my machine right now. It will also look for remote access tools. So if they installed something that has access to your machine persistently and it's malicious or known as malicious, we call them RSAT, remote access controls, it's going to find that and let you know about it. So step two, we're going to see, did they have some kind of persistent access? And that's what this scan is going to also look for. We want to see if they installed any kind of a tool, they're running something. So after those updates are done, we're going to restart our computer, and then we're going to make sure everything's running normal. So now what happens on the other scenarios where they redirect or try to get control over where we go? Well, there's two ways they can do that. One is a DNS redirect. And so your computer, when you go out to google.com or starbucks.com, whatever, it looks up like a phone book to find out what computer that needs to go to, the IP address. That's called DNS, domain name system lookup. Now, what they can do is if they can redirect that lookup so you're not looking at a trusted server anymore, you're looking at their server, they can serve up a malicious computer to go to that looks like your bank, looks like Starbucks, looks like Google, and then when you type your data in, they're capturing all of that, right? So that's a DNS redirect. Your computer has DNS settings, but most of the modern browsers also have the ability to have an override so that you can put in secure DNS. So depending on where you went, what malicious site you went to, it may inject its own DNS into your browser. So two places to look. One, you're going to want to look at your computer system settings, the IP settings for DNS, and make sure it's set to either auto or a very well-known DNS. And we can talk about how to set DNS at another time, but you want to look and make sure. In the browser, you're going to go to either security settings or advanced network settings inside the browser settings. Usually it has the little three ellipses or the looks like a little hamburger. Open up those settings, look for security or advanced network settings. You're going to look for that DNS setting and disable any other advanced settings so that it's just using the computer settings. It's much harder for the hackers to adjust your local machine settings without being caught by your antivirus. It's much easier to adjust it in the browser. So that's where I would start, looking at the browser. Then another option is what's called a proxy server or a proxy connection. So in the browser and also in Windows and Mac settings, you can set up a proxy. Most corporate ITs, if they use a proxy, they do this to monitor all your traffic through a hardened device that's looking for malicious intent, malicious sites, etc. So instead of you just going straight to a computer like Google or Amazon, that website, it's going to go through this box, it's going to look at everything and then put you out there, comes back to that box to check everything and back to your computer. That's what the purpose of a proxy is for. Well, hackers would love to use a proxy so that all your information, every site you go to, malicious or not, goes through their box, then to that site. Now they can access and capture your passwords, login information, and they could redirect you to malicious sites as needed. So what we want to do is make sure those proxy settings didn't get accidentally enabled. So what you can do, same thing in the browsers, is you'll go to those advanced settings and security and look to see if a proxy is enabled. For most people, it should not be enabled. So go ahead and disable it if it did get enabled. But also, for like Safari and Macs, Safari doesn't have a proxy setting built in naturally. They may update that at any time, which is why I still say to check it. But it's going to take you to the system settings of your Mac, where you'll go into the operating system's control and enable a proxy or disable a proxy if you were to use it. But in this case, we're probably going to disable it unless your IT set it up for a specific reason, like I said. So we're looking to see if they did that. So the three things, again, that hackers want to do. They want something malicious to happen right away, like ransomware or a virus. That you'll know about. Pop-ups. Hopefully your security would stop that, your antivirus. But more often than not now, they're looking to get persistent access or some kind of control of your data to the internet so that they can manipulate, capture passwords, capture banking information, capture what you're doing long term. They also want to exfiltrate your data. What we're seeing a trend in the industry is instead of just ransoming everybody, because they have good backups for the most part now. They've been listening to us IT folks about it long enough. And you just restore, and then they don't get their ransom. First, before they deploy their ransom, they're taking all your data. They're exfiltrating your data out as a copy, and they're keeping it, and then they're going to say, oh, you're not going to pay the ransom? Well, go check out this website. Look, there's all your data. And if you don't pay us, now we're going to release it publicly. So it doesn't matter if it's a personal computer or work computer, they're going to do the same thing if they can. And that's why we want to look for those persistent tools. It's called persistent access, so that they can keep connecting to your device when you're not using it, or when you go to lunch or whatnot, and manipulating and pulling files out of the back. That you're not seeing it. And no mouse is moving. Settings aren't being changed. They're just copying data slowly to try to not get caught. So if you think you clicked on a malicious link or fell for a phishing scam, those are the three things you do to protect your computer. What about accounts that you may have been logged into, or that you may have logged into a website after this happened and you didn't realize it? Well, the other thing you want to do right away, immediately, while those scans are happening, on a different device, go change passwords to anything that you had open or access to when this event happened. Update all those passwords. And there's a reason we tell you to not use the same password on all your websites or all the different sites you go to, because if one was compromised, now they have access to everything, right? So use a password keeping tool. Make sure you have different passwords for each site. So if one happens to get compromised through one of these attacks, it's only that site. So go change those passwords right away so that you have something safe, changed, whatever, not like anything else, just in case they did capture that password or that data from you, they won't be able to use it. So if you don't have MFA set up, that's my last little thing. Make sure MFA is set up everywhere you can, because even if they capture your password, it's much harder to bypass MFA. It can be done, different video, but it can be done. But make sure it's enabled, because it will help prevent access to those files as well. So thank you for joining us today. Whatever model you're watching us on, go ahead, like, subscribe, follow us for more updates. We're going to be doing a real-time hacking video soon with Wi-Fi stealing in public areas. So if you've ever wondered why we tell you not to use public internet, like at a coffee shop or hotels, I'm going to show you exactly why in an upcoming video where we actually will hijack that data and show it to you real time. So stay tuned for one of those videos coming up, and thanks for watching today. Have a great day.